Okay. So we can have this in the background so that I can bring up the hero stats whenever we're talking about a hero. So first up, we got Royal Knight. He has Noble Gear to reduce natural decay of shield by 15%, which I'm pretty sure means whenever your shield takes damage, you lose 15% fewer stacks. I'm not sure what the numbers are, if it's like 30% into 30% times 0.85, or what the exact numbers are, but it feels relevant. You do noticeably get more shield out of your shield. And then Shield Mastery, add 75 stacks to shield every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds, so you get 4 instances of 75 shield, which is significantly better most of the time than just straight up getting, 300 shield? Because of the way shield works, whenever you take damage that is less than the shield, you just lose stacks for less value. Like, if you take 1 damage and you have 200 shield, you're still taking the full shield decay damage. Getting them in separate instances just means when you take the smaller hits, you don't lose as much shield out of it. I have been really liking Royal Knight. He feels like one of the best heroes for just playing just about any comp. You've got very good built-in defense. You can play Poison, you can play Wound, you can play Fury, you can play... I've seen Dodge Turtle work, I've seen Ultimate Turtle work. There's pretty much no lobby, it feels, where Royal Knight isn't good. And for that reason, he is going at the top of S tier. Probably the #1 hero overall. Next up, we have Treant Guard, who is one of the sprite heroes. Unlike the Chaos Overlord, who makes sprites while he has a sprite, Nature Ward just makes a temporary sprite. So you only get the sprite for 2 seconds, but you don't need to keep your sprite alive to get additional sprites from Nature Ward. And then Thorn Counter. For every 50 damage that is blocked by shield, the sprite fires an energy blast at the enemy and deals 25 magic damage. This does get stuffed by Defense Mastery. This hero is only available in lobbies where Defense Mastery is going to be available. And it's not hard to have like a level or 2 in Defense Mastery and have Thorn Counter not do anything anymore. But it's a plan. It's usually not going to be the only plan, but sometimes when you're Christmas treeing, the Thorn Counter just goes crazy. Spamming sprites with your ultimate can be a plan. But in general, you're just another really tanky hero. You get a bunch of defense from Nature Ward, giving 220 shield. The extra sprite that you get can give you more healing, can give you more shield, can apply more poison, apply more wound, all that stuff. Again, hero can sort of do anything. You can go Fury, you can go Ultimate. You can play defensive, putting him solidly in the second spot. Nature Prophet is a hero that I've been playing a lot of. Another sprite hero, though doesn't make additional sprites. He just has very tanky sprites. He's got pretty good base stats. He attacks kind of fast. 2.3 is above average. 16 dodge, 17 crit. You can sort of build around dodge and not feel too bad about it. You don't have the slowest charge speed in the game. You've got lowish base HP for a tanky hero, but the flat damage reduction from Supportive Aura sort of makes up for it. Your ultimate's not amazing, but it's fine. Does, 270 damage? 360 damage if you've got a sprite in play. I have played Ultimate Jungle Prophet, though usually if you're doing Ultimate Jungle Prophet, it's just because you've got good charge and there's like Poison Ult in the lobby. For the most part, he's just another solid defensive hero. He does just about everything well. We've been playing him with Fury a bunch in the last couple days. We had a lobby where we played him with Poison a couple days ago. Plays well with Wound. Pretty much any damage tree, get him damage, and then you just build your sprites defensively. If you've got sprite healing, you basically don't die when you've got enough levels. He plays wide really well because he scales off of hero levels. Yeah. Often, I don't know how to also put him in S, but he's up there. He's up there. I generally like the defensive heroes a lot, because usually it's nice to only have to solve one problem. When you've already got good defenses and you can just like pick up sprite levels as you go and not have to worry about it too much, and you can focus on finding damage, it just feels like a nicer problem to solve than to need to find damage and defense. Next up we have Blade Chief. I think that's his name. Yes, Blade Chief. Scales his attack damage over the course of the game, but has very low base attack speed. So you really want to get the attack levels to get the scaling from the base attack tree. The 25% when you hit level 8, 15% when you hit level 8? It's something when you hit level 8. Let me see. 25% when you hit level 8, yeah. Goes a long way when you have so much base attack. Blade Chief ends up being one of the scariest of the base attack heroes. He scales really well with everything. Vanguard attack, gets a bunch of damage. He scales really scary with crits, because his massive flat damage just gets multiplied. That said, he's got the same problem that a lot of other attack heroes have, that he's bad into freeze, bad into dodge. You can be contested on your attack stuff and just feel kind of bad. I do think he's one of the better base attack heroes, but probably B. Might have to reevaluate this. Not entirely sure yet. Now we've got, what is this? Bloodshed Monarch? Bloodshed Monarch. I've gone in and out of liking this guy. Venomous Fang makes your poison damage crit with a 20% chance. My understanding is this does not scale with other crit chance. It used to not be as clear when he just had 20 base crit, but now that he's got 21 base crit and this still says 20%, and it does seem like no matter how much crit you have, you still crit about the same amount with your poison damage. But it does scale with the crit multiplier for going down the crit tree, and stuff like poison damage, or poison crit can be a way to get a bunch of poison on the opponent. Then you've got Venom Wrap, standing in Toxic Marshland, 20 stacks of poison every 0.6 seconds, accelerating poison damage application by 50%, lasting for 3 seconds. I think what this means is that poison damage ticks are 50% faster. So instead of every 0.7 damage, or 0.7 seconds your opponent takes poison damage, it's every 0.35 seconds. I think. It is not the clearest translation, but I don't know what else this would mean. Which is pretty nice when you just need to get more looks at poison procs in order to get more poison damage. The more defensive the lobby is, the more I tend to like Bloodshed Monarch, but he is really high rolly. You'll very commonly have fights where you're in the finals against a Bloodshed Monarch, you get deleted at like the first second or two, and then you fight again and he does no damage. Because it's just, do you get the crit on your initial pre-battle poison? Do you get your crit on your poison burst? You really want this crit to trigger when the opponent has the most poison on them, which is often going to be either at the very start of the fight or right when your poison burst triggers. And when you miss those windows, it can look a lot worse than it would otherwise. I don't know, I have okay success on this guy, but he's just so unreliable. For every game that he looks unbeatable, you get a game where you feel really strong, and then you fail to crit with your poison and just die. I do think he's one of the better poison heroes, but I am pretty low on most of the poison heroes in general. It would need to be 100% to be 0.35, though. Yeah, it depends how it's calculated. Is the 50% like halving the amount of time it takes? Yeah, I don't know. Not sure exactly what the timings are on this. I read it as it having the amount of time it takes for poison to trigger, but that could be wrong. Next up, Chaos Overlord. Another sprite hero. I've been having more success on this guy when I play him. I started playing a lot more heroes as more wide than forcing specific branches. When I tried to play this guy, going down like a couple of branches any given game, he seemed kind of bad. But Sprite in general does reward you for just having a lot of stuff. The Sprite skill itself wants you to have like the Sprite damage skills. It wants you to have a bunch of crit so that you have more health on your Sprite from the crit Sprite skill, a bunch of base attack for the Sprite attack skill. Other sources of damage that just, you use the sprites to keep you alive. And if your sprites are living, you get more sprites, which then gives you more value on sprite wound, sprite poison, all of that stuff. This being fizz damage is a little unfortunate, but he summons a bunch of sprites. Sprites do this. He reads a lot better than he plays, I think, but he's been playing better for me as I've been pressing random more than trying to roll. It is accelerating triggers by 50%, so it triggers 1.5 times. instead of 1.0 over the same duration. Are you going on that based on how you've seen it work, or just based on reading it? Yeah, I don't know. I really thought this hero was going to be really good when I unlocked him. What tree works well with Royal Knight? Literally all of them. Any damage tree plays well with Royal Knight. You can Fury is probably the best. Go like Fury Poison, Fury Wound, that kind of stuff. You can play Wound Shield, very good on Royal Knight. Those are probably the two best. You can go Pure Poison. I've seen Pure Dodge work. I've seen Ultimate Poison work. Let's throw him. God, he reads like a hero that would be in A tier, and then every time I play him, he plays like a hero that's in C tier, which I guess means I should put him where my experience puts him. His base stats aren't even bad. Based on the text, but if it mistranslated and is reduces cooldown between triggers by 50%, then it would be 2.0 times instead of 1.0. Yes. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm pretty sure Bloodshed Monarch increases how often your poison damage triggers. I don't know what the exact numbers are on it, though. Your guess is as good as mine. I wouldn't really trust the wording on anything in this game. The translation's a bit scuffed. Kerfuffle. Kerfuffle is my favorite offensive hero, I think. Evil Invasion is an absurd ability. When enemy's HP drops below 33%, instantly inflict 50 plus hero level times 10 stacks of wound on them. Can only be triggered once per battle. This often means that when your opponent HP drops below 33%, they die in the next second. In the early game, this is just enough damage and wound that they're going to die very quickly. In the late game, even, because it scales with your hero level sort of aggressively, it will also often just kill them. It's not rare that I see like 200, 250, 300 even wound out of this, especially when you take into account wound levels, because the scales off of the tree scaling for wound as well. Twin Orbs is a little bit less exciting, but it is sort of interesting that half of it is fizz damage, half of it's magic damage. It means that you never completely whiff your ultimate by missing, but you do have the opportunity to crit as well. I believe the way that this works as well is that if the first orb knocks them below 33%, the next orb will trigger the wound from Evil Invasion. So being 2 damage instances is nice for that too. He's a really good shield strike hero. I'm trying to think what else I usually play with him. You can run down wound and poison and play the pre-battle effects. Just like pre-battle into Evil Invasion and to kill them. Yeah, really strong in the early game, really strong in the mid game. Can fall off in the late game if you don't find your mythics, but I think he's the only offensive hero that I'd put in S, because he is just so strong early on. Then we got Evil Breaker. He's the anti-mage guy. Each base attack has a 75% chance to reduce the enemy's energy by 1. And then Void Burst concentrates void energy, dealing 300 plus the difference between dodges times 5 magic damage. And then you got pretty good base stats too. A 2.4 attack speed means picking up attack boosts is nice. 24 base dodge is tied for the highest in the game. The highest in the game. 15 crits, kind of whatever, but not awful. 0.9 energy regen kind of sucks, but when you consider you've got nullify attack, it means, I don't know, you just got like the same amount of energy regen as most of your opponents. I don't play this guy much. I don't know, he probably does a bunch of things well. You can probably play him sort of wide. He does have the issue of you need to find damage and defense. 1000 base HP and 24 dodge doesn't necessarily keep you alive early on. And unless you've got attack boosts, 18 damage on a 2.4 per second attack doesn't really kill people. It isn't the worst ultimate, but I don't know. I think I've played this guy less than... I definitely played this guy less than 10 times. His base stats are good enough that I still want to put him in like A or B though. Probably B. It is weird that you're incentivized to go base attack because of your attack speed in a lobby that is going to have dodge. But maybe you can stack ultimate on him, stack healing. Healing dodge is really good. I don't know. Dodge heroes that don't necessarily have to max dodge boost to have enough dodge to win a lobby are sort of interesting. Then we've got Forest Ranger, who's probably the biggest mismatch between hero that I thought was going to be absurd in theory versus practice. You definitely have the games where you get like crit arrow hail, your arrow hails are generating enough energy for you to cast another veiled arrow and you just stun lock the opponent. Or you've got like arrow hail with shield generation, you throw a bunch of shield smashes at the opponent and they just get deleted. But it feels like for every game where you have that, you have another game where your opponent just picks up defense mastery, you don't find enough crit abilities, and the idea doesn't work, or you just get raced by pre-battle stuff because you don't actually do that much damage unless you find your crazy combos. I think Forest Ranger is the strongest hero turn 1, and you stay pretty strong through most of the mid-game just off of your ultimate stuff. I've really struggled to win lobbies with Forest Ranger. Even in lobbies that I thought were perfect for it, where you have like crit, ultimate, healing, the damage just doesn't quite get there. Yeah, I don't know. This plays really well with crit, plays really well with wound for damage mastery to scale the damage off this. It's another thing that gets kind of wrecked by defense mastery. Initiative strike feels mandatory for her. Initiative strike is good. I don't know. I don't know how mandatory it is. It's definitely good. Is this rating doing well or winning lobbies? That's a good question. That's actually a really good question. Probably doing well, right? Like, you're probably never getting 8th on Forest Ranger, just because of how good your early game is. But, I don't know, with Healing Treasures getting more and more popular, it feels so bad to have a sketchy mid or late game. I do think she's better. She has to be better than these B heroes. Yeah, I don't know. I guess normally my bad finishes on Forest Ranger are like thirds or fourths. I don't know if I've ever placed below 5th. And I have played this hero a good amount. It's just always so disappointing, because you get a comp together that you think is going to be really strong, and then you still just die. First slot B rank. Yeah, maybe. It's like the same problem that Ogre has, except Ogre also doesn't have a good early game. And Ogre's late game plan is probably worse too. I'll put it here for now. We might end up having to do a bit of reshuffling. Frostborn Lord. I do not like this hero. I don't like Frost in general. I lose to this hero often enough that I feel like it can't be bad. But it's just so inconsistent for me. If you try to rush freeze, it's really likely that you just die before you find enough damage to be able to win fights. Like, I lose to Frostborn Lords, like, in the top 4 a lot, but I also see so many Frostborn Lords just go out at 8th. I don't think you're supposed to rush freeze. You're supposed to go, like, crit or ultimate or maybe poison as your first branch. But you've got the issue of you need to find damage and you need to find defense. When it all comes together and you make it to the late game, and you're against a comp that has a hard time dealing with freeze, you probably win the lobby. But I don't know. I feel like you're just worse at doing other stuff. And you need to do other stuff first before the freeze comes online. So your early game is just naturally kind of bad unless you chain a bunch of crits together with your ultimate. I do think this... I'm still convinced this has missing text, and this crits more than it should. Whether I'm playing with or against the hero, every time I track how often my ultimate crits, it's critting like almost half the time. It's absurd. Does it need no poison lobbies to be good? I mean, that probably helps. If you play it in a no poison, no wound lobby, you can go ultimate, or what do you even do for damage? Like, our problem with playing it in a no poison, no wound lobby is it makes the freeze plan better late game. But what are you doing in the early game to get damage? If you find a bunch of... Like, there's not even ultimate poisons available. If you find a bunch of charge speed, you can maybe try to chain ultimates together, but that doesn't really come online until, like, turn 8, turn 9. You can go crit, but that's not the most reliable. Crit tends to be another thing that comes online in the mid to late game. Yeah, I really don't like this guy. I almost want to even put him down here. Him being scary in the late game and me losing enough lobbies to him makes me not want to put him all the way in the bottom. How fast is Frostborn attack? 2.0. It's average. Hope for a round 1 Mystic Tome. The problem is, even if you get a round 1 Mystic Tome, that doesn't give you the damage. Like, you can Mystic Tome Frost. You still need to find a bunch of the commons for your Frost damage to do anything. And you have to find multiple copies of Frost damage, which also isn't the easiest thing. Like, you can get a turn 2 Frost damage and still just lose every fight until the late game. You can get an early Frost Nova and not have enough freeze application for the Frost Nova to do much. Like, the conflict between wanting to take freeze damage and wanting to take pre-battle freeze, you need the freeze damage to have damage in the mid-game, but you need the pre-battle freeze in order for Frost Nova to be big and scary. So if you take the freeze damage, your late-game power spike becomes worse. If you take the pre-battle freeze, you don't have a mid-game power spike. I just don't like Frost first, even on a hero that gets double value on Frost. Freeze doubles the effect. You never understood the text? Oh, it just makes your opponent twice as slow for having Frost. So if you have 50 Frost on the opponent, it's like they have 100 Frost for the purposes of their attack speed. Rage Mage. I think I'm lower on Rage Mage than most. I think Rage Mage suffers from the issue. He overperforms because he makes you pick the correct branch. If that makes sense. Like, you go Rage because of Rage Mage, but in reality, you should be going Rage regardless of what your hero is. And because you picked Rage Mage, you're making the correct choice for the lobby. Like, in pretty much every lobby, I think every lobby, I would rather be Rage with Tortoise, Forest Prophet, or Tree than with Furious Mage. Just having the built-in defense makes the early game so much more cozy. In Forest Prophet's case, the extra defense is really nice in the late game. If you manage to hit like an early attack boost or a couple persistent venoms to get a touch trigger before your first ultimate goes off, you do become really scary in the early game, but I feel like that happens in less than half the games. And unless you get the fast touch trigger, you're really not that strong early. You need to find defense, you need to find your damage. I don't think he's bad, but I do think a lot of the success with this hero you would have just playing a more defensive hero with Fury. And you're just doing well because you're playing the right branches. I don't think he's bad, but he's probably an A. Here's where you need to find defense. Yeah, just needing to find multiple things is harder than being able to just find the one thing. Like, the nice thing about Kerfuffle Apostle and why he's up is he doesn't need to find defense because he's just the fastest hero at killing you. You just race everybody anyway. What's next? Glacial Sprite? Glacial Sprite. This is one of those heroes I was talking about where I say I lose a lot of lobbies to Frostborn Lord. They're pretty much all while playing Glacial Sprite. This matchup is miserable. This hero is so good if you're the only hero that wants to go Frost in the lobby. But, yeah, I don't know. When there's healing attack available, and no one else in the lobby is going Frost, he feels so unbeatable a lot of the time. He'll sometimes fall off in the late game, but for every time that he falls off in the late game, he also just, like, hits Frost Nova, throws 10,000 Frost on you, and laughs. He does have the issue of needing to find attack boosts. He doesn't have the best base damage. If you don't have extra damage on your attack, you will not win earlier mid-game fights. Glacial Sprite would be better in a non-Frost lobby? Yes. I think he would be... If he still had the same ability, he would be the best hero to play in base attack lobbies that don't have Frost. Or hits Freeze Poison. Yeah, Freeze Poison can also be absurd. uh... His ceiling is crazy. I want to put him lower than the other attack heroes just because you only get to play him in lobbies where you wouldn't play the other attack heroes. But I don't know if that's... I don't know if that's fair. I do think you generally will get strong enough that you're able to race the comps that are good into Freeze. Like, if someone's trying to play Fury or Pure Poison or Poison Wound, I think most of the time you do get strong enough that you're able to beat those comps, especially with healing in the lobby. But it just sucks when someone else is going Frost. B for now. He's not Rage Mage good. He's not. Yeah, I think this is fair. If he didn't need to find a bunch of attack boosts to be strong in the early game, I'd probably put him in A. But the fact that even in lobbies where he should be good, he can still end up taking a bunch of damage early because he just doesn't do enough damage on his own, I think that knocks him down into B. Hidden Blade. I don't know that I have lost a lobby with Hidden Blade. I'm pretty sure my worst finish in my last 10 Hidden Blade games has been second. And I think 9 of those were firsts. I don't think that has very much to do with Hidden Blade being strong, though. I think it's the same thing as Rage Mage, where Hidden Blade just makes you play dodge in lobbies where dodge is going to be good. Like, I never pick this hero in poison lobbies. I never pick this hero if I don't want to be jamming dodge. I don't think he's any better at jamming dodge than Evil Breaker. Your ultimate giving 8 dodge is cool, but it takes 8 losses before you have the same base dodge as Evil Breaker. Zero's actually really similar. Yeah, this is tough. I do really wonder how many of the lobbies that I win on Hidden Blade I would have won by picking any of the other heroes and just doing the same thing. Yeah, it'll be a YouTube video. Like, by the numbers, I honestly want to put him, like, here. But Specialist hero, really good when you need it to be, feels like an A. That's the thing, I don't know if he's actually really good when you need it to be, or if I could have just picked any hero, done the same thing, and still had success. It's just... my win rate wants me to put him up here, but my heart tells me to put him here. Actually, my heart tells me to put him, like, here, but... we'll average it together. Put him in B. Problem with Shadow Assassin is they only pop up with dodge and poison. Yeah. Hidden Blade isn't better than Evil Breaker. I'll put them right next to each other. In my heart, I agree with you. I have a higher win rate on Hidden Blade, though. And I'm not sure how much of that is due to the ultimate giving 8 dodge. 8 dodge for 3 seconds is a lot. I might just be underrating this in my mind. And this might be a really significant part of what makes this hero strong. Okay, so these next 3 heroes are all kind of the same hero. You've got Tribe Warrior, who has 1300 HP. Each unique shield branch skill increases the max HP by 25, and he's got an ultimate that puts an okay amount of shield on him. Notably scales with ultimate effect, and does a little bit of damage. You do occasionally see Tribe Warrior stacking ultimate. I've seen that work a couple times. I think like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, no, almost 2 weeks ago, we lost like 3 games in a day to someone jamming ultimate Tribe Warrior. Like, this generates more block than you think it does when you have ultimate on it. Other than that, he plays really well with Fury. He's just another defensive hero. I think he's... In ultimate lobbies, I think he's the best of the 3. In non-ultimate lobbies, I think he's the worst of the 3. I used to have them like all down here, but as I've gained more respect for Fury comps, I kind of want to push them up to just pretty average. They're not bad. I never feel awful picking one of the health heroes. See how I feel about this in a second. Dorothy Lord, same idea. Instead of getting HP when he gets shield skills, he just gets HP naturally over time. Every round he gets 20 HP. Big starting HP. Pretty mediocre stats otherwise, but having high HP gives him some starting defense, lets him play Fury. Yeah, his ultimate does some damage. You gotta solve the damage problem. You can't really just rely on the HP for defense, but HP is a nice defensive layer. I like him. He's okay. These heroes are all going next to each other. Where's the shark? Sharkman! Deep Sea Giant. 1300 HP. Has a benefit in poison and wound lobbies, especially, of taking less poison and wound damage. He might be the... Maybe he is the best of the 3 by default, if there's no ultimate. I do only want to play these heroes when Fury and Poison. Ideally, Fury and Poison and Wound, because that gets you the most damage out of your Fury Poison and Fury Wound. And if you're only playing them in lobbies with Poison and Wound, you are getting full upside on Resilient Skin every time. His ultimate's whatever, inflicts some freeze, does barely any damage. Yeah, I don't know. High HP hero, plays Fury. He's okay. What do we got now? Uh-oh, Demon Shadow. Okay. I was a little higher on this like a month ago, and then I played a bunch of games with him. Felt like I was doing pretty well. We like found our persistent explosions, hit reasonably well, and then still just died a bunch of times. 17 base dodge. How long does this take for his... Every 1.5 seconds the dodge goes up. I honestly want to put him near the bottom of the list. Probably the first hero in D. He does have high attack speed, but it's just... He only shows up in dodge lobbies. So this high attack speed isn't even an upside. If it's a heal dodge lobby, you would prefer this number to be 0 in the late game than 2.5. Because you're probably just healing your opponent with your auto attacks. Need to speed up the passive a bit. Yeah, the passive's just a bit too slow to be reliable. You still get burst down. You've got the same bad matchups as all the other dodge heroes. You still need to find dodge boosts. Like, this doesn't give you enough dodge to not need to max out dodge boost. Yeah, Going with my heart, putting them in D. Red Ogre. What's this guy's name? Mad Axeman. This hero's got a couple of cool things you can do. You can just play him as an attack crit hero with 2.5 attack speed. That's fine. It doesn't feel as consistent as the other heroes at playing attack crit, but high-ish attack speed, really high base crit. Where he gets really interesting is in lobbies that don't have HP, or in lobbies where people are going sprite plus dodge or heal plus dodge for defense, and you can spam bomb boom ultimates, because this holy damage can't be dodged. It ignores sprites, it ignores shield. In really defensive lobbies that don't have HP, Ultimate Axeman is... He just looks unbeatable. That said, there's very few of those lobbies. And as cool as it is when it works, it's, yeah, doesn't always... Also reduces max HP, lobbies with heal. Yeah, exactly. Like, it ignores half the defensive layers in the game. Extra crit multi is good. I might have to play this hero just as a base attacker more. Looking at these numbers, it seems like it should be better than I'm giving it credit for. I want to put him below Blade Chief, but that might be wrong. They're pretty similar in that they both usually want to be playing base attack. They both usually want to be going crit. What's this guy called? Astromage. Okay. If there's a lot of conditions to this, so hear me out. If the lobby has no HP, the lobby has no shield, the lobby has no sprite, and you find Initiative Strike, and you find ultimate wounds, and ideally, you find at least 2, preferably 3 pre-battle wounds, then this hero is crazy. Sprite actually doesn't matter here, because ultimate control kind of counteracts it. Oh, that's fair. You can do it with Sprite. But there are a lot of ifs, and when you don't get Patron Rod, you're playing the most scuffed game imaginable. But when you hit, that is one for the highlight reel. Shield is the hard counter. The shield ultimate is really hard to deal with, yeah. I don't think energy generation ability matters. I don't know why he has this. This just feels like flavor text. The big thing that makes him cool is the ultimate damage scaling off of wound. I like him worse than all of these. For content, if you want to make content, maybe here. If you want to win, I don't think he's reliable enough. It matters in the early game, you can win off getting a second ult. How much magic damage are you taking in the early game? I feel like in the early game, this is worth less than 5 energy. A screenshot of a game where you got to do the thing. Yeah, I've tried to do the thing, I think 5 times. I have successfully done the thing once. The only magic damage you take in the early game is Therapy Raise. I would call Therapy Raise mid-game, but sure. He's goated in some lobbies. He is goated if you hit in some lobbies. The problem is, even in lobbies where you have the optimal trees, you are not guaranteed to do well. You can still just fail to find your Initiative Strike, or not get your pre-battle wounds. Hey, Iblis. Mystic Mage. I've been pretty impressed with Mystic Mage with healing in the lobby. Healing Ultimate is such an absurd ability. And Mystic Mage is probably the best hero in the game at spamming a bunch of ultimates. Once you get, like, level 4 Healing Ultimate, and you max out the Charge Ultimate rare, you're gaining, like, 500 HP every 2 seconds. And your opponent's getting stunned a bunch. In lobbies where the stun matters, this hero is so hard to deal with. There's just not many lobbies where the stun matters a lot late game. Usually late game damage comes down to like Fury or getting poison bursted or stuff like that. I do think he's the best. Well, just looking over the list, I think he's the best hero for the ultimate tree. I think. And I don't think he's bad. I also don't like him in Frost lobbies. I play him in lobbies that have healing and don't have Frost. And I get pretty good success with him there. I win most of those lobbies. Naga Queen. I really don't know how I feel about this hero. 1.5 mana per second is misleading. Gets 1.5 over 0.1, so he has 15 mana per second, which is a lot more than the other heroes. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know how the numbers work out. He does feel noticeably faster than other heroes. So theoretically, because of Freeze Curse giving Freeze the ability to apply Wound, this is the only hero that directly turns Freeze into damage without needing other skills. But in practice, you need so much Freeze to apply 25 Wound that doesn't really help the Freeze early game that much. Alright, Naga Queen, she does pre-battle really well. Yeah, if you get all the pre-battles, you get even more value than normal. I played this hero with ultimate. It's okay. It's a weird ultimate in freeze lobbies, though. Like, if you get pre-battle frozen and you're going ultimate with Ice Burst Bombs, it really slows down the Ice Burst Bombs. I think I'm not very high on that. The only wound hero that can overpower pre-shield. Not the only wound hero that can. Do you just mean apply more wounds than the initial shield? Like, I think you can fight through pre-battle shield with other wound heroes. Yeah, I think the bait that this hero is that you want to go Frost first because you get damage out of the Frost. But I think in reality, you're supposed to go and just play Wound. And then maybe pick up a little bit of Frost along the way and go Frost second or third. Realistically third, because you still need a defensive layer. I don't think you're winning with just pushing Wound. Like, if you've got, like, Wound Shield, you can go Wound Shield into Frost. It's probably fine. Wound wants instances to trigger it faster, and the 2.3 attack speed is good. 25 wound is 100 damage, and her ult applies 50 wound every cast. She is good. Very good early game. Yes, I agree with all of these things. I think I agree with all of these things. I don't have bad result. I've just had a couple of bad games, and it's leaving me concerned. I have also had games where I feel like I'm doing complete nonsense, and it still works out okay. I'm never putting the hero down here. I don't think I'm ever putting it in. Yeah, it's just between, like, top of B or into A. I think you've got enough plans that you're good. You always have a wound available, too. I think it's worse than the other heroes in A, but tentatively putting it there. Panda. Panda's another one. I've played a good amount of Panda. I feel like Boozguard reads better than it is. And Boozguard is realistically the only ability on this hero. The ultimate's kind of whatever. It is a built-in healing instance, which is really nice. It rewards you for going Therapy Rays. It doesn't scale super well. Hero level +5 is kind of a joke, but 25% chance. 25. The amount of times that I see Boozguard heal for like 20 damage makes me feel like this 25% has to be a mistranslation. Because this should be so much better than that. If there's a 25% chance to heal every time you take damage. Panda's overrated. That's the take that I want to have. Panda is only good against people who build all pre-battle. That's not my argument. I think Panda looks good for the same reason that Rage Mage looks good. In that the lobbies that Panda does well, it really feels like you could be doing what Panda's doing on any other hero and have similar results. And it's just the people that are going Panda tend to be the ones that are forcing the healing. Never see the shield guy win lobbies. When the bots play Royal Guard, they're terrible at him. But like 25%, that's so much. That's so much. I think healing is one of the best things to be doing in the game, and Panda is good at it. But that's the thing, is Panda good at it? Is Panda that much better at it than just like a hero that has good base stats and a generically strong ability? This reads like it does so much, but then you look at the logs, and it's not doing that much. He gets more healing triggers than everyone other than Sprite Priest. You would think. Okay, I'm pretty sure the way Boozguard works is if you're attacked at full life, Boozguard cannot trigger off of that attack. It like heals before you take the damage. That would make sense. Because you just get so much less value out of Boozguard when you look at the logs than you would think you would. Share your tier list? Yeah, we'll look at it after. C tier? I don't know about C tier. I do think healing's a worse branch than Rage. Obi, you want to say he's better than Dwarf? Yeah, I do think he's better than the other HP heroes by a pretty good amount. His ultimate is also good. It's 300 HP of value. Are we really calling 300 HP of value good? I don't want to call 300 HP of value good. That sounds awful. That has to be below average, right? Like, it's better than the bad ultimates. Take a look at Kerfuffle. Kerfuffle's 300, but Evil Invasion is Kerfuffle's real ult. This is just... It's just there. This does more damage than Twin Orbs. It does a similar amount of damage to Twin Orbs. Rage Mage is 600. Rage Mage is anywhere from 200 to 900. Well, you're getting that damage from the wound anyway. I guess it is nice that it's 2 damage instances. Plague Warlock. This hero was absurd, and then he lost 0.2 mana generation. And I feel like he is no longer even very good. I see him win occasionally. I guess I also haven't played him in like a week since he's been locked. Venom healing is strong. Now the enemy takes poison damage, recovers HP equal to 15% of that damage, at least recovering 1. Yeah, his early game is no longer the best early game. Or like a top 3 early game. But like, healing and poison do play well together. 150 HP and 100 stacks of poison. That is also... That's true. Plague Warlock probably is... Well... I don't know. So this is every 0.7 seconds you get a healing trigger. I'm pretty sure that's more healing triggers than you get from Panda. You do have less base HP than Panda. I'm pretty sure this is a better ultimate. Maybe we should do unlock all the S tier guys or some low tier. You can unlock just about every hero if you just put in the codes. If you put all these in, if you go menu, settings, gift code, you can just put all those codes in, you'll get a bunch of diamonds, and you can go into the store, convert the diamonds to gems, and unlock all the heroes. A bit slower, but still better. Oh, is it slower? Is Panda... They have the same charge speed. You just mean, like, the projectile is slower? Oh, it does the damage slower. Sure. Yeah, I feel like that matters a lot less when you have healing built in, but... Like, it gives you the time for the poison to tick. I want to put the Panda lower. What if I do this? This might not be fair. I need to play Plague Warlock more. I do think Plague Warlock's a better healing hero than Panda. But... I'm also just not very high on Plague Warlock. What do we got now? Self-defeating hero. Shadow Assassin. When battle starts, steal 4 dodge from the enemy. So you've got base 23 dodge, which is pretty above average. 2.4 attack speed's pretty nice. Lowish crit chance. You got this garbage fucking ultimate that does fizz damage and some amount of poison. The big problem with this hero over the other dodge heroes is that you only get this hero in poison lobbies. And I tend to not want to stack dodge in poison lobbies. Poison dodge is a really strong ability, but you know what ability is stronger than poison dodge? Fury poison. And Fury poison completely ignores dodge. That said, if you max Poison Antidote, and you go Fury yourself, like if you don't use dodge as your primary defensive layer, and you're just playing it as another sort of way to scale your defenses, I don't think this hero is bad. Especially if it's a healing lobby and you're getting value on both Poison Dodge and Healing Dodge. Those are 2 of the best skills in the game in a vacuum, I think. Even if they might not have the best matchups into the lobby. The ultimate's just so trash. Yeah. You're reading my mind. Our ultimate is fizz damage and can be blocked. Like, I think she has to be worse than Evil Breaker. Just because she shows up in worse lobbies. Worse than Bloodshed Monarch? Something like this. Like, the fact that you can just play Shadow Assassin, like, dodge also plays really well with Fury. And in a poison lobby, Fury is often going to be the thing that you want to be doing. So you just end up going sort of wide, go poison into Fury, pick up dodge boosts along the way, pick up Fury dodges along the way. And you've got good matchups into everybody not playing poison because you've got dodge. And into everybody playing poison, you have poison antidotes, and you just have the same poison stuff that they do. She is D, unplayable almost. I don't know. I haven't had... If you asked me 3 weeks ago, I think I would have had her down here. All the way down here. But just, like, using dodge as another defensive layer and not prioritizing it too much. Just, like, picking up the good dodge skills. I feel like she's okay. As okay as you can be in a C tier that is currently bottom 5. Sprite Priest. Okay, so we had a Sprite Priest game earlier tonight. I think I threw with my treasure selection. We took too many selection treasures instead of value treasures, but my overall win rate on this hero is good. Just tonight we got an 8th. Despite having magic crit. We just, like, didn't have enough sprite life. Didn't have enough healing. And that can happen. You do need to find 3 things. You need your max magic crit, 4 things. You need crit chance, you need to keep your sprites alive, and you need to have a bunch of healing instances. Can you be surprised by your tier list? I might be. I might be. I only play him in crit lobbies. I think I have gotten first place in 5 of the last 6 lobbies I played Sprite Priest in, which is higher than my win rate on most of these. You also need opponents to go healing? No, you don't. You do not need your ultimate to be good. This is the strong thing of Sprite Priest. You get magic crits for this, and then you heal a bit, you send out a Shadow Shift, the Shadow Shift crits, you get your healing crit value, which sends out another Shadow Shift, and you just keep looping that. And that's your win condition. You also get extra damage from Therapy Rays. As you do more damage instances, you get lifesteal damage. You do not need Arrow of Agony to do anything for Sprite Priest to be Exodia. Yeah, the thing that makes me like him more is that he's kind of the only hero that gets strong just off of getting magic crits. You don't need to find your damage skill before magic crit is good, because your damage skill is built into the hero. So I mean, he's also pretty good at avoiding blast most of the time. But you do commonly start the game at like 15 life, because you just lose the first 5 or 6 rounds. Yeah, like I said, you gotta get crit chance, you gotta get magic crits, you gotta get sprite life, and you gotta get healing. But once you get all those things, you're very strong. Very strong. Tiger Shooter, the fastest base attack hero in the game. I've had her locked for a while, or since the patch. Each ultimate cast makes her even faster. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to avoid this hero in the same lobbies that I avoid all of the other base attack heroes in. She plays better with healing in the lobby than the other base attack heroes because of how well healing attack scales off of attack speed. She plays better with ultimate than the other attack heroes. But she is another hero that really feels like she needs to find attack boosts or you just die. My Mystic Mage is on A. I've had a lot of success playing Mystic Mage in lobbies that have healing. Just feels really solid in those lobbies. Yeah, I don't know. You do have to play this hero differently than the heroes that I like to play. I don't think you can just take random value and do well. You do need to find specifically your healing attacks, your attack boosts. But when you find the good skills, you sort of just run over the lobby. You'll dodge on her is so strong. I would not play this hero in a dodge lobby. Like, if you hit attack into getting stun ultimates, it can work, but I would be so scared of getting 8th and just having the dodge heroes come online before my anti-dodge does. She struggles most. Yeah, again, wouldn't play this hero in a freeze lobby, wouldn't play this hero in a dodge lobby. Same conditions as the other base attack heroes, but 3.0 attack speed is a lot. I also just put like all the base attack heroes next to each other. Is Tiger Shooter better than Blade Chief? I feel like I win more lobbies on Blade Chief than Tiger Shooter. You just need less to go right on Blade Chief. Blade Chief needs to find attack speed. You're guaranteed attack speed from leveling attack and the uplifting on 16. Where Tiger Shooter needs to find base damage, which isn't as easy to get. The Mystic Mage has bad lobbies. Yeah, of course. I don't disagree. I only pick him in lobbies that have healing and probably lobbies that don't have freeze. I don't hate him in Poison Wound lobbies. Like, the Poison Ultimate and Wound Ultimate are really strong when you're spamming ults. I had one game where we just played Mystic Mage as a pre-battle hero. We got to Initiative Strike, had a bunch of ultimate poisons, a bunch of ultimate wounds, pre-battle poisons, pre-battle wounds, and just deleted people with that. They just one-shot you. You can be the one-shotting. Like, through the mid-game, if you have healing ultimates, you can survive the non-maxed pre-battle skills. It's really just when they have one maxed and like a level or two in another one that it's really scary. And you can also fight over the skills. Ogre. Fuck Ogre. This hero doesn't do anything. We had the quest to get a first on this hero was so miserable. I think we had 3 games where we had max crit chance, initiative strike. In one of those games, we just died fair and square to a hero that outdamaged us. In one of those games, we had 75 crit and still shot 2 single fireballs in a row and died. I'm convinced that if you want to play this hero, you just ignore his top bar and build like Fury Wound or Sprite Fury, something like that, and you're going to have a significantly better win rate than trying to build around his top bar. He's fun but bad. He's not even fun. He's more frustrating than fun. I guess maybe the early game is fun, like getting those random triple fireballs is fun, but it's so unfun when you have like maxed him out and he's still shooting single fireballs. There is nothing more frustrating than losing a lobby because Ogre just decides to not rub his 2 brain cells together to shoot multiple fireballs. Like, you've done all you could and it doesn't matter. Why did I unlock him? Because I have firsts on every hero. The only reason these aren't unlocked is because they used to be locked, and they used to be unlocked, and they recently got locked with the recent patch. And I don't have gems to unlock them. Frostlich quick it's better than he does early. Yeah. Venom Dragoneer. I think he's the best of the base attack heroes. I think. He has the issue of needing to find damage, like attack boosts. He's got okay base attack. This scales up pretty quick. It is nice not needing to take uplifting, being able to take the what's it called? Wartime Fury? Wartime Rampage, the plus 20 attack. And then you can use that with a Victory Chase to get your attack speed to scale everything else. Like, ideally you get upliftings and that, but if you need attack damage, you're not forced to take uplifting if you haven't found your attack boosts. The ultimate inflicting poison is kind of nice. It means even if people are... You have, like, the backup plan of being able to pivot to poison sometimes. He's super strong early game. Yeah. I think he's the hero that you're most likely to see at 30 life on turn 5. He does... I think he does fall off harder than, like, Blade Chief or Tiger Shooter. But his early game is usually better. A lot better. Is he as good at getting first as the other attack heroes? Or is he just better at making it to the finals? It's a built-in ult to his counter of dodge. Yeah. If you're playing an attack hero in a dodge lobby, I would like to be this one, I think. Am I picking a dodge lobby? Yeah, that's usually how I treat these. I just don't pick them if dodge or freeze are available. One of the best heroes to get 4th, maybe 3rd. Yeah. I'd be curious what my stats on this guy are. I think I probably get 2nd on him more than I get 1st. Where I'm pretty sure I get 1st on Blade Chief more than I get 2nd. Maybe all the attack heroes do just belong together. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. And then... last hero already. Nice. Venom Sorcerer. When I first started playing, I liked all the poison heroes a lot. As I play more, I like the Venom heroes worse and worse. And I think this one in particular is really bad. Venom Deepening is sweet on the first, like, 5 to 10 turns if you get a persistent Venom. Potent Venom is sort of a lot of poison stacks. But after, like turn 8, turn 9, you just don't have a top bar anymore. The scaling becomes sort of irrelevant compared to just getting more poison. I guess this is maybe enough poison that you can build around the ultimate, but is it? I don't even know if that's true. It is cool that the 160 stack scales with both poison and ultimate. I might be underestimating that. But I've tried a bunch of things on this hero. I tried to play like poison damage because poison damage scales off of venom deepening, and that's just not good enough. I tried to play pure poison, but pure poison kind of falls off. You don't have super exciting base stats. I guess you got good mana regen. I may have to try ultimate on this a little bit more than I have, but eh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure worst poison hero. I don't know. I'm pretty sure better than Ogre Demon Shadow. It maybe moves up to like this if she's good with ultimate. I'll have to try that soon. But yeah. Okay. There's our tier list. I like defensive heroes. I like Kerfluffle. I guess Rage Mage ended up in the top 5. I actually wasn't expecting to have Rage Mage in the top 5, but I guess that makes sense. Does the rest of this all look good? I'm gonna put Hidden Blade over these. Eh. Eh. Can we share? You can just link it. Just link it. Share is the biggest hot take. I don't know if most people have Sprite Priest that high. I don't think anything. Kerfuffle might be a little hot. I think Frostborn being low is a little hot. I think those are the hottest takes. Anyway. Command add hero tier. Bam. By Shadow Demon D tier. He scales crazy well mid to late game. That just hasn't been my experience. Like, he just dies at every stage in the game. Does that work? No. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. When we get back, we'll see. I'm surprised to see Shark so much higher than the other HP heroes. I feel like he's not that much better. I was really surprised to see Shark above Royal Knight. I don't think my command works. It took you to the unfinished list. Oh shit. I meant to take a screenshot, but I guess I didn't. Whoops. Maybe 1 second. Copy. Oh my god. This fucking website. Command, edit, hero tier. Bam. Will that work? That should work. Yeah, what do you do on Frostborn Lord that you're so high on him? Still blank. Did not work. That was the share link that the site gave me. Okay, I'll just take a screenshot. Yeah, I know it wasn't an imager link, but I thought that it would work. He can win early? He can win early? What? What do you mean he can win early? Are you high rolling all your crits? I high roll half my crits and I still lose early. I think my biggest disagreement is just having Ogre this high. I think that's the only one that I, like, strongly disagree.